So, hello everybody. Today we're going to do an unboxing of a role-playing game starter set. Now, I haven't bought many of these in recent years. I think the most recent one was actually RuneQuest a couple of years ago. And this is not new. It's by Free League. I want to say it came out in 2022? Oh, I was under the impression it came out in 2020. But okay, I stand corrected, 2022. Now, I've been kind of walking around this for a long time, simply because I once played a really great campaign in Ashen Stars, which is space opera. It's not a very well-known setting. It's not a very well-known system. It was based on the Gumshoe system. And I really enjoyed it. But you know, it has its moments of weakness. Now, all systems that I've ever played have moments of weakness. And the moment of weakness that I see with Alien, the role-playing game, is that when you see the alien, it's game over, man. You know, that's it. You usually die. And that's good for a one-shot or a two-shot or a three-shot at most, but you cannot really play a campaign with this. And I'm somebody who's really bad at designing and running one-shots. I have gotten better at it, but I always also enjoy telling a story long-term, having the players develop their characters and so on and so forth. And with Alien, they say that there is the cinematic mode, which is the short shot where you basically get your pre-made characters that are suited for this particular event that unfolds in the gaming session. And it is expected that they all die. And so I've been watching Alien playthroughs, and recently I came across one by Unmade Gaming, and I'm going to link it in the description, which is a multi-year campaign that was developed by Red Dot. She works for Cobalt Press. Unfortunately, I don't think she ever published it because she would have made lots of money. I would have thrown money at this lady for this particular campaign because it's so great. But it kind of shows that, yes, it can be played in campaign mode, and it does make sense. It doesn't detract from the horror that is Alien. It doesn't detract from the horror that is that you feel when you meet an alien, and it doesn't detract from their deadliness, but it can be done. And so I thought, okay, well, you know, let's give this a try. And I was talking to my partner in crime, and I was saying, well, you know, I'd really like to play a one-shot. I want to play Chariot of the Gods, which is the scenario that comes with a starter set, but I want to try out the system with you first so that I, you know, like, get a grip on the system and don't make too many mistakes when we're playing, and for it to be played smoothly with my group. And then she said, well, you know, I've always wanted to play Firefly. Now, the problem with Firefly, the RPG, and Serenity, the RPG, is that it's pretty much focused on the people from the series. And also there are large parts of the core rules that deal with those people and with their stats. And it's basically you're going to play usually one of these people. And that's always a problem because then you're not really making your own choices. You're not making your own characters. And that's something that I actually don't like that much. However, it's got a couple of good points for it, and that is the lore, which is quite small, unlike Star Trek, which is sprawling. And it's got a nice vibe, and it can be really dark, but it can also be cozy. You know, you've got your home base, which is your ship, and so on and so forth. And I said, well, maybe we should just take the Alien approach, their engine, which is actually the Year Zero engine, which for which Free League have published the SRD. It's available for free. You can use it. You can build your own stories around it. You can even build your own system using the SRD. You have to give them credit, but it is a great system. And they even give you two options. You can either play with D6s only or with step dice. So Alien actually plays using D6s, but for example, a step dice system would be Firefly. And I said, okay, well, how about we just use this as an engine and then try to get a kind of Firefly-ish meets Alien story off the ground. And that's where we're at the moment. And today I got this in the mail, so we are going to unbox this, and I'm really curious. It costs around 50 euros. It's not widely available, but you can get it. But I understand that they're reprinting it and more are on the way. So first of all, I mean, even I like the cover. Aha. So let's see, games catalog. We've got Dragonbane. Actually, I didn't really like it, but hey, there it is. We've got the dice. So we're going to talk about the dice soon. We've got the initiative cards because this is actually played using initiative cards from 1 to 10, and the lowest goes first. But of course you could also roll dice. You can roll a d10 and it serves the same purpose. You've got little chits because you are going to play, and they say, well, normally you would be playing this using maps and even battle maps, but you can also use Theatre of the Mind, or you can use a VTT. Here we've got the pre-made, so these are the people you would be playing as if you were going to play the accompanying scenario called Chariot of the Gods. And of course they make sense because it would be kind of like a starter set, so you kind of get going right away. And here we've got the rule book. Come out. And we will take a look. First of all, one thing I will warn you of is that it's white writing or green writing on black background. So if you are like me, already a little bit older, you will hate it. I already hate it, but it does work. The font, however, is really nice. And what I have to say is the art is second to none. I mean, this is just so evocative. It basically explains to you how life on a space station works, or on a frontier in this case, a little bit of the lore and the timeline, what you can do on the frontier, for frontier colonists, colonial marines, company reps or space truckers, role-playing alien, the game mother, that's actually the GM, differences between cinematic play and campaign play, tools of the game, character sheets, what is a role-playing game, cards, your character. You can design your own character, of course. This would allow for this. It tells you how to do it, how skills work, which skills there are, and so on and so forth. It tells you about gear. It tells you about combat and panic. And it also tells you about skills that you can use, and so on and so forth. I don't know if it actually tells you about ships, medical supplies, gear. I don't know if it tells you about ships, if you can build a ship or put together a ship. Let me see. No, it doesn't, but that's fine, because obviously there is also the core rule book, which I am going to get as well, and that has all of this information. Now, I've already spoken about the dice, so I'm just going to zoom in a little. As I've said before, it's D6s, it's not a step die system, and you have abilities and you have skills. So let's say one ability is agility. And when you create your character, you have 14 points to that you can basically split across your 4 ability stats, and you cannot go over 5. So basically, let's say we are a super agile person, or let's take a look at one of our pre-made characters that come with the game. Let's take Officer Miller. And Vanessa Miller, so she has the following stats. She's an officer, that's her career. She has 4 in strength, 2 in wits, 5 in empathy, and 3 in agility. So these are basically, when you add this together, you get to 14. And then you have the different skills. There are 12 in total, 3 of which are always associated with one particular attribute. So for example, close combat, heavy machinery, and stamina are associated with strength. Observation, survival, and comtech are associated with wits. Command, manipulation, and medical aid are associated with empathy. And lastly, piloting, mobility, and ranged combat are associated with agility. So let's say she needs to make a manipulation roll. Since she has no skills, no particular skill in manipulation, she can still take the 5 from her empathy and roll. And in this game, a 6 is a success, and you only ever need 1 success. And as you can see, I've rolled 2 successes. You see this, so these are special dice, but you can also take normal d6s, so that's fine. She has not only succeeded, but she also has, if you like, over-succeeded, and sometimes there are stunts that you can use for different abilities. If she had not succeeded, if she had not gotten any 6, but 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, and 5s only, she can say, I'm going to push the roll, which means I'm going to roll again, but I'm going to really put myself under stress. I'm really going to push myself. Adrenaline starts pumping, so you get a stress die. Stress dice are rolled with your pushed roll. And, very nice, she fails the second roll as she rolls no 6s, and she even rolled a 1 on her stress die, which means she's starting to panic. And in this case, what you do is you roll 1 die, 1d6, and it's a 4. You add the number of stress dice that this lady has, and she keeps those. So basically you have to say she's at stress level 1 now, and it's for until she de-stresses. So now she has a 5 in total on her panic roll. And on a 1 through 6 on your panic roll in total, nothing happens, but then as a 7, things start to happen. So she's still good, but she hasn't passed. So whatever she was trying to do, she failed at doing. You could also, like I did in the, let's see if I can repeat this. Okay, another no success. Let's say she's going to do a piloting check. So in this case, she gets the 3 for her agility and 2 for her piloting ability. And she does roll a 6, but she decides, actually we will pretend she has no stress, but she decides to push the roll anyway because she needs more. She wants to do a stunt. So she takes 1 stress die and then she rolls everything that wasn't a 6 again, and she gets 2 more successes. So now she has 3. This is especially important in combat because you can decide to, because the more you have, well, actually, I'm not even sure if you can push in combat, but there could be reasons why you want more successes. Now, the stress die, as you can see, also has a 6, which is basically a success. So the stress die isn't necessarily bad. It can also add to your success rate. So this is pretty much how rolling works. It's very straightforward. You also have talents. These talents usually are determined by your job. So let's see if this list is actually in here. Career, 25. It actually seems you cannot, it doesn't explain to you how to build a character. That's very interesting on the one hand, but also quite disappointing if this is actually true. That is very weird. One thing to note is, well, it seems like you can push in combat as well, which I find a bit weird. I will have to check if this is actually the case. So basically, this is what you get when you buy the starter set. Now, what I will say is that from what I can see with the starter set, you can really only... You can't really play much beyond the starter scenario, because it doesn't tell you how to create characters. So it doesn't tell you that you have 14 points for attributes and 10 for skills. It doesn't give you a list of talents. Pull rank, I don't even know if this is explained in here. Talents aren't in there either, so I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to know what pull rank means unless it says so on the other side. Yeah, it does. So basically, I would say that unlike other starter sets that I've seen, this one actually doesn't set you up to start playing. It allows you to play this one scenario. And if you like, you can take these people. It doesn't tell you anything about character advancement. So I'm not even sure if this is a good value for money. I mean, you do get these nice dice, which I really love. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you get 10 and 10, which is really nice. You can also get these separately, I believe, but you could also use D6s. So that's not necessarily relevant for gameplay. You do get maps, and I'm a sucker for maps. So you get the USS Cronus, CSS Cronus, which is actually a which seems to be a J level. And you get this beautiful map of the star system, which is really nice. But for example, how space travel works, how FTL works. So basically 1 square is 1 parsec. So depending on if, and this would be faster than light. So if you have something that flies at 16 FTL, to go from here to here would be 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3 would be 2 parsecs. So it takes us 32 days. So this is essentially how to read this. And this is a really nice card, a really nice map as well. But I would say I'm not quite sure what you would need the other ones for. Unless, of course, you're supposed to move these around on this, which I think is a little bit small, but I guess you could, in theory, do this. So yeah, to use the chits on this map of the ship, but this is probably how it's intended. So I am very much in love with the system. I think it's great. I'm not so in love with this starter kit because I think 50 euros is a little bit much for what you're getting, especially since it doesn't set you up to actually create new characters. It won't allow you to do this. So I'm not quite sure if I actually would recommend this because I believe you can get the Chariot of the Gods actually also as a download. And the dice are definitely nice to have if you have the possibility of playing, live even. Or, I could actually imagine that I will roll the stress dice for my people and they will just roll their own dice. Because unless you buy the VTT version for Roll20, for example, Roll20, of course, only allows you, even after all this time, to roll one type of color die. So basically, keeping the stress die apart is always a bit difficult. But yeah, let's just take a look at these cards. So overall, I would say, as starter kits go, from 1 to 5, this gets a 3. 3 because you have really nice components. I really like these specialized dice and they look nice. And if I can get this card thing open, we can even take a look at the cards. If it will let me open these cards. And it does not. But I would say it's probably better to buy the rule set, the core rule book, rather than the starter kit. If you're not keen on getting the dice and if you don't really need or are interested in getting the maps, because I think it's not even a starter set. I would say it's a box set for one type of game, and that's Chariot of the Gods. So I would say that it's not even, I wouldn't consider this a starter. I would say this is a boxed game. Let's take a look. So these are the initiative cards, like I said, from 1 through 10. These are item cards. So service pistol, magnum revolver, with pictures. That's nice. So you kind of get an idea of what you're dealing with. Bolt gun, pulse rifle, scope rifle, gauge, 12 gauge pump action, harpoon grappling gun, plasma pulse rifle, heavy pulse rifle, smart gun, Daihotai series 8x8 tracker, No, it's an incinerator unit. Tractor. Okay, so this is actually wrong, because this is whatever an 8x8 tractor is, because it says incinerator unit on the other side. And this is the armored personnel carrier. So that's interesting. The cards are not necessarily correct. So this one is definitely not correct. Encounter for top speed 148 kilometers. So this piece of information does not fit the back. That's actually, this gets 1 star minus, because that should not happen. Here we've got information for the people that you have. Also, and this is something that I was going to mention, agenda. So in cinematic play, you usually play across 3 acts, and each player gets a personal agenda for each act. Because the idea is that you want to, I don't want to say you incentivize player versus player, but everyone has their own agenda. So this is not like, you are not a party. You may know each other, that's not a problem at all, and you may have been working together for a good while, but in cinematic play, you just basically are thrown together into this situation, and everybody has their own agenda, which they follow through. And in order to get people to act in a certain way, these agendas are prescribed. And it does make sense, because it adds tension and friction. When, you just come together for a 1-shot, 2-shot, you don't really have time for natural friction or interaction and stuff to develop. So in order to make sure that it does happen, what you do is you give people agenda cards. In the core rulebook, there are also kind of like tropes that you can use to create your own agendas, and I think in campaign play they would actually come naturally to people. So Alien, the role-playing game starter set, is a 2 out of 5 points, a 3 because I don't think it's a real starter set, because it will not allow you to build your own characters. It doesn't even give you any idea on how to build characters. It's really just a game in and of itself, namely Chariot of the Gods. You get everything that you need to play Chariot of the Gods, and that's it. And it gets a 1 point deduction, so it goes down to 2 out of 5, because of this misprinted card. This should not have happened. You're providing a very limited amount of material, and then you get it wrong. That's inexcusable. I'm sorry, Free League. So talk to you soon. Bye.